I'm with Southern Exposure Seed Exchange. We are an heirloom and open pollinated seed company based in Central Virginia, so forgive me if I say y'all a couple times. We specialize in seeds for the mid-Atlantic grower, and today I'm going to be talking to you about the importance of seed saving, and I'm going to introduce you to some of the people who are preserving genetic diversity in America today. I want to open up with this really great quotation that I found in Brian Connolly's book. It's hard to read, though. Okay, well, I'll read it to you. In this time of species extinction, homogenization, corporate gigantism, and the theft of commonly held genetic material as intellectual property, the skills of seed saving are vital for small organic food producers and the whole of agriculture. I thought that really summed up why seed saving done well is at the heart of regenerating agriculture in this country. So I wanted to give you a little bit of background history before I went into talking about some of our growers. So as I said, we do heirloom seeds, and what heirloom means to us is pre-World War II. It's kind of a generic term, kind of like natural on a box of crackers at Whole Foods. Everyone has a different definition of what heirloom means. We say pre-World War II, and I'll explain in a minute why that is. But even going back further, 10,000 years, seed saving was at the heart of what brought agriculture to our country. People were selecting wild plants, and that led to domestic crops. And then a millennia of seed cultivation in different climates led to a vast array of locally adapted varieties of food and fiber crops. So before the 1940s, right, produce was locally grown. That's what made sense. Cities got their produce from outlying areas, and vegetables and flowers were selected for looks, flavor, and the ability to perform well in a local organic environment. But then, during World War II, everything changed. The United States started shipping produce to Europe in very large quantities. And after the war, there was all this infrastructure in place to ship food long distances, so then the commercial sector began to use this infrastructure to grow food where it could be done most cheaply and then get it to everywhere else. So that's still true today. If you don't live in Florida or California, the veggie belts, you're going to the supermarket and you're going to find produce from those two places. I have a picture of the interstate system up here because Ira and I were talking about how if it wasn't for the interstate highway system that was put in place during the Eisenhower era, the food system as we know it today wouldn't exist because it just didn't make sense before interstates to be shipping food such vast distances. So it's kind of interesting to think about. So because, as I said, seeds are grown primarily in California and Florida, there's very specific traits that are looked for in this large-scale agricultural system. Here are some of them. The ability to ship well, uniform ripeness, disease resistance, the ability to perform well in a chemical environment, optimum performance under mechanization and other demands of large-scale agriculture, not nutritional value or taste. So most seeds used in large-scale operations today are hybrid seeds. So hybridization is when a technical method is applied to two open pollinated varieties to ensure that the pollen from the father is grown on a distinctly different breed, the mother. So it's the crossing of two plant lines. And the offspring have two different set of genes, right? One from each parent variety. So in terms of seed saving, this is problematic because although these seeds aren't necessarily sterile, they will not breed true, right? So the next generation of seeds from hybrid plants are going to be unpredictable. And I just want to point out that I got this hybrid image from the Monsanto website, and I thought I would give them credit, because otherwise it could be disastrous. Okay, another quote you can't really read very well, so I'll read it to you. In part because of corporate consolidation, many varieties have been lost, which has reduced our cultural options, diminished our cultural heritage, and put our national food security at risk. So at Southern Exposure, we promote open pollinated seeds. That means that the seeds are pollinated by natural mechanisms like the birds and the bees. Nature works, woo! So, let me put these up here. So when you're saving open pollinated seeds, you want to keep a variety at an appropriate isolation distance from other varieties. And this will ensure that the next generation is going to be relatively the same from the variety that you were isolating and saving seed from. If you save about 30 to 50% of the variety that you see and select for certain traits, then over the generations, you can start to alter the variety. But if you're just doing a grow out and selecting about 80% of the diversity that you see, you're going to have the next generation being reliably the same as the first, or similar to. So the reason that open pollinated seeds make sense for small growers and home gardeners is because, first of all, the uniformity and maturation that's sought after in hybrid seeds is not really great for home and market growers. Successive ripening extends the season, which allows for the steady sale or consumption of the entire crop. And open pollinated varieties are specifically adapted to local soils, temperature, rainfall levels, pests, and diseases, whereas hybrid varieties, as I said, are primarily developed in very specific places in the country, and so might not do as well in a region as open pollinateds that were specifically developed in that region. It varies though. All right, so now I want to introduce you to some of the people who are saving seeds today. Many open pollinated varieties are on the verge of extinction, so it's our mission and the mission of some of our growers to preserve them. So first of all, I'd like to talk about the Moyer family in southwestern Virginia. The Moyers are growing heirlooms that thrive in their region. That's very important to them because they believe that doing this honors those who have selected and saved those plants over the generations. They also feel that growing heirlooms honors their customers who grew up with a certain kind of heirloom, and they get so excited when they come to the farmer's market and see, let's say, the pink tomatoes that they grow for us. They grow German Johnsons, and the customers say, oh, my grandma, my uncle used to grow those. They get so excited, they buy them, they bring them to their elderly relatives. So to the Moyers, they feel that heirlooms keep the people in their community connected to the farms and the people of the past, which to them is very valuable. The Moyer family is truly a family business. They have 6 children, ages 7 to 21, and 5 of those children have contracts with Southern Exposure. The youngest, who's 7, is in charge of the zinnias, okay? And the oldest does the muskmelons, and everywhere in between, they each have a row. All of them know how to save seed, and one of their sons built all of their winnowing and seed saving equipment, so it's kind of a remarkable family operation. Richard, the father of these young entrepreneurs, says that seed saving is really great for their family because it gives their kids independence, so they have their own projects, they get to see something from start to finish, and instead of going out and working at McDonald's or trying to make some side cash off the farm, they get to stay on the farm and make some extra money, which is how it used to be, and for the Moyers it's how it should be. SCSC even helped the Moyers keep a family agricultural tradition alive. So they recently learned that their ancestors were broom makers. So they would grow broom corn. This is a picture of broom corn right here. And they would make their own brooms. And after a couple generations, this was lost. But their son recently found out that SCSC sells some broom corn, so they bought some, and the son's growing it out, and he's going to be making brooms and selling them at market this fall. So we were really excited about that. We're proud that heirloom seed saving can keep a tradition like that alive.